If you want to know how I got this creamy, saucy Cajun chicken shrimp linguine, then you just keep on watching. I know there's something like really different that we're doing on my channel, but sit back, relax, sis, and just enjoy the ride. Let me know what you think. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the prep. Like I said, this is something very different that we're doing on my channel. I love to cook. I just absolutely adore cooking. It's a really big stress reliever for me, that and reading. And so the best part of cooking to me is the prep part, which is what we're doing now. So we're just going to be chopping up everything and putting them into bowls. I like to do this just because it just helps with the cooking process, because the cooking process can take no more than like 10 to 15 minutes if prepped correctly. So I have everything laid out on my table. What you're seeing me now do is finely chop up some portobello baby mushrooms, and I'm putting them into a bowl. And then we're going to move on and we're going to chop up everything else. So this is garlic, shredded, detangleized. Girl, I don't know. This is garlic without a shell. You can buy this by the bags. And I'm just going to finally chop that up, get it into nice itty bitty bites, and put them back into the little like container that I had them in. I don't like to use like the little grater thing, because I just find that I can just never get all of the garlic to, like, you know, go through. So I just do it this way, girl. I don't know. And then we are also going to chop up the chicken and the sausage. Now this sausage is real country, like at home, down the street, Piggly Wiggly type of like country sausage. It comes in like this is not the Red Hots, even though it looks like it has the casing of the Red Hots. It's not hot, but if you want to make it more spicy, you can definitely do Red Hots with this. And we're just going to just chop them up and into, it really depends on how big you want them. I realized like I was just going too finely in the beginning, so I just made them chunkier towards the end. And then I'm just going to put them in the bowl, and then we're going to chop up our chicken. Now with the chicken, you always want to make sure that you're, you know, making sure that you're very, very aware of like where you are with like your hands and stuff like that when it comes to chicken, just because you don't want to actually spread, you know, germs and salmonella like all over your kitchen. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So I cut it in half. You can also beat your meat. I'm just kidding. You can also beat it with the hammer. I use a frying pan because I don't have a hammer. Well, I have one, it's just lost in translation. And then we're gonna just chop these up into cubes. I find that it's easier to cut chicken because I already eat it in cubes anyway, so I just find it easier to actually cook it in cubes too, because the distribution of the heat it's just easier when you're doing it like that. And so I was just trying to just cook it how I eat it, basically. And then after this, we're going to season. Just make sure that you're looking at the screen, because I'm going to actually have everything listed on the actual screen with all of the seasonings that we're using. I have measurements down in the description box down below, so I can actually like follow by follow recipe for you guys if you want to recreate this at home yourself. So the first thing that we're using is sea salt. Then next we're using garlic. We use rosemary, black pepper, no seasoning, no salt seasoning, basil. This is as Gordon Ramsay would say, or basil. This is what I'm using now. Rosemary, a little bit of thyme, Italian seasoning, paprika, and Cajun and seasoning. Girl, I forgot the two main things. This is like, it's smoked paprika and then Cajun seasoning. Now this is the part where if you want to make it as spicy as you want to, or not as spicy as you want to, that is like how heavy-handed you are at this point, because the more Cajun, you know, the spicier it'll be. And so we're just gonna mix all that up together. I always use gloves when I'm seasoning chicken, and then I always throw that glove away in the trash can as soon as I'm done with it. Now for the cooking part. So what we're going to be doing is just filling up about a 1.5 quarts of water in a like pasta bowl, and then on the other eye, while that's like coming to a boil, we're going to start cooking our meats. So the first thing we're going to do is just put some olive oil in the pan, and we're going to throw in the garlic in there, and we're going to get that nice and brown. I like to just get that cooking and seasoning and all that good stuff just to have the aromas there. I forgot to show it on camera. I actually like chopped up an onion, and I chopped it up into big ginormous chunks. We're just going to just let that just wilt down and like get like nice and soft, and just have the aromas going in the oil, so that when we add our meats, it's going to like, you know, boom, it just adds more flavor, and it adds more flavor in. So we're adding the sausage first, and we're just going to just mix all of this together. We're going to add the sausage and the onions and the garlic all together, get it nice and cooked down just a little bit, and then we're going to add the chicken. And what we're going to do is just mix all of this together, so that way all of the spices and the aromas come together as one. I turned the eye down. I was about a 6, and then I moved to about a 4, which is like high heat to like medium high, basically, if you're using like an electric stove. And I just really wanted that just to simmer and like all the goodness and all that good stuff, and make sure that the chicken is cooked properly. I do have a food thermometer that I use, and I always check that just to see how the chicken is coming. You always want to make sure that your chicken is cooked to temp, because you do not want to get sick. You don't want to have raw chicken in the middle. So just make sure that you're always checking temperature on your food. Now we're moving on to the pasta. I season my water. It just gives more flavor to the actual pasta as it's cooking. So I use sea salt, garlic, and Italian seasoning in my water, and then I'm adding a little bit of oil. Apparently it's a myth that the oil actually helps the pasta not stick together. Girl, I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a chef. I'm not none of that. I still do it because everybody else tells me to do it, even though apparently it doesn't work. So I'm cooking the pasta like full length. I'm not breaking the pasta. So what you do is you just let it sit there for a little bit, and then you just continue to swivel around, because what's happening is as soon as the pasta hits the water, it's starting to cook. So it'll eventually start cooking itself down to where you'll be able to put all the pasta in. You stir, every so often, just because you don't want the pasta to stick together, and just let it cook. And so the meat was already done. So the pasta's cooking now. So now we're moving on to the sauce, the fun part, the part what you came for. So I melted a stick of butter. So I took it's probably about 3/4 of a stick is what I used. I have this on a very, very low heat. You never want to actually like have the pan on a high heat when you're melting the butter and mixing the milk together in this stage, because it can burn very easily. So I have this on like maybe a 2. After adding the garlic and letting the garlic simmer in the butter, we're adding a whole 1/2 pint of heavy cream. And I like to like let it like simmer in a little bit, and like let it just simmer within like the garlic and the butter, and just really like coming together and all that good stuff. And I let it simmer, and then I'm gonna go in and season it. I season everything, y'all. I season everything. Once again, I season everything. So what I'm using in the sauce is just about everything that we use in the chicken. I'm using some salt, pepper, garlic. There's actual real garlic in there, but there's salt, pepper, Cajun seasoning, Italian seasoning, rosemary, thyme, no salt seasoning, and rosemary. I said rosemary? Rosemary. And then I'm adding in some tomatoes and peppers. That's kind of like the Rotel kind of can. That's really what that was. And then now we're adding the cheese in. I use 2 different types of cheese. I use mozzarella and I use Parmesan. I'm more heavy on the actual Parmesan than the mozzarella. But I do like to use 2 different types of cheeses when I'm making my Alfredo sauce, just because it gives it like a better like it gets it more flavor, and there's a different texture and stuff in it. This is what's gonna like actually thicken up the sauce, is the actual cheese, and when it melts, you just want to just constantly be stirring it. I use a whisk, but y'all, not a whisk. What is this, girl? I don't know what that is. So this is my secret ingredient. I actually use cream cheese. Mix that in there. This is what to me gives it its flavor, and it gives it that texture and that nice like creaminess to it. And the pasta's done. You always want to rinse your pasta, cold water, because that's going to stop the cooking process. We're going to start folding it into the sauce. I like to use little by little. You never want to just put all of the noodles in there together, just because you may have too many noodles for your sauce. So you always want to just do little by little until you see like, okay, you know, add some more noodles as it goes. And you want to just keep folding it in there, just making sure everything is nice and coated. And then after that, we're going to add our meats. I didn't show, but at the very end of the meat, I actually put the mushrooms in, just because mushrooms actually don't take long at all to cook. And so this is honestly it. We just like, you want to just make sure that you keep just folding everything together and just making sure that everything is nice and coated. If you want more noodles, do all that. But you're good to go. So now we're moving on to the plating, and I'm just going to go ahead and just start putting this into a nice pasta dish. Like, y'all, this video is like trash. I did it on my phone. My mama was trying to like help me, but it was just trash, y'all. So sorry. Because the noodles are so long, you know, you have to use like 2 of them and all that good stuff. But after that, you're good to go. This is the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Add a little garnish, maybe a little parsley or whatever, and there you go, girl. There you go, sis. And thank you so much for watching my videos. I hope you guys truly enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you like these kind of videos, just let me know, because I love to cook. So let me know. Bye, guys. Mwah.